We're now a month into 2022 and the Fed has announced that they'll be increasing the interest rates a couple times throughout the year to fight the massive inflation that we've seen over the past couple years. I've had a lot of people ask me if they've missed the boat. Is it just too late to buy a home in PA? Is the PA market just going to be too expensive to buy a home in 2022? And if it's not too late, should they wait for the interest rates to come back down, or is now a great time to buy? We're going to go over all of this and more, so stick around to the very end so you're fully informed about how the increased interest rates will affect the PA market. Let's get right into it. It's no secret that the annual appreciation is up significantly in almost every state in the country, but in PA specifically, we can see that over the last 2 years, the market has appreciated just under 20% compared to the average appreciation rate of just under 10%. So doubled what the average is just over the last 2 years. Since the beginning of 2020, the market has been the wild, wild west of housing markets. Sellers were getting just about any price that they wanted for their home. There was multiple bidding situations on almost every single house that was listed, and this is all due to the supply and demand issues. So why was there any supply and demand issues? Well, the interest rates were at all-time lows, which meant a lot of buyers could afford homes and could afford a lot higher priced homes because borrowing money was so incredibly cheap. So there was a lot more buyers out in the market. New construction home builders just couldn't build fast enough because of the supply chain issues. Now that we're in 2022, we're already seeing a change this year compared to the last 2 years, which I believe is a good thing because compared to the last 2 years, a market like that just isn't sustainable forever. The PA market will continue to increase, but significantly a lot less than what we've seen over the last couple years. Because of the increased interest rates, that pretty much knocks out a whole buyer pool. Because the lower price point buyers are going to be struggling to get approved for what they may want, and these are just numbers as an example. Instead of buying a home at a lower price point such as $300,000 because their interest rate was 2.5, now let's say they may only be able to get approved for $265 to $275 because interest rates currently are around 3 to 3.5%. So their money just isn't able to go as far as it used to, so that gives them less buying power. I see a lot of the more entry-level buyers just currently staying put in their current housing situations while they save up some more so that they can get back to the price point that is ideal for them. Some of the same is true for the middle to upper luxury scale price points as well when it comes to getting more house for their money when interest rates were lower. But in the higher price points, those buyers typically have some more money saved that they can put down on a house. For example, if a lower price point buyer could afford a home of $320,000 at a 2.5% interest rate, but now, for example, let's say that they're only able to get approved for $50,000 to $70,000 less because of the increased interest rates. In that price point, that's a huge change when it comes to the type of home that you can buy, the location, and the amenities compared to maybe a higher price point where if a buyer was approved for $900,000 a year or two ago and can now only get approved for the low to mid 800s, that's not much of a change when it comes to the type of house and location, if that makes sense. A big issue for sellers over the past 2 years was that they could sell their home and get pretty much any price they wanted, which was great, but they were also concerned about where they would go once their home sold if they couldn't find a new home. Besides the sellers that already had a house under contract prior to selling their home, a lot of my sellers last year actually opted to sell their home and then just choose to either move in with family or just even go and travel, since a lot of people were work from home. And they did that so that they could take advantage of the drastic increase in equity that they got in their home just over the last 1 or 2 years. I've talked to a lot of the sellers from last year that have chose to just sell and not yet buy, and I asked them what they think about the increased interest rates, and they don't really seem too concerned about it because of the amount of liquid capital that they're sitting on that they took advantage of by selling their home. And you might be thinking, well, yes, that's great. I would love to take advantage of my home equity, but I don't really have the flexibility to sell my home without having another home to go to. And we came across those sellers a lot last year as well, but the good news is there are plenty of strategic options to be able to sell your home and take advantage of that equity, but be able to stay there in your home until you actually find a new house to move into. So make sure you ask a realtor in your area about some of the ways to do this. And if you don't have an agent in your area, reach out to me and I'd be happy to get you in touch with somebody who's highly recommended in your local area. I also had a lot of people reach out and ask if I thought that a market crash was coming in 2022, and I actually made a video all about this, so make make sure you check out that one. I don't expect prices to fall at all in 2022, but I do expect them to slow down just a bit. There is still a shortage of homes, so it's still a seller's market, but the difference now compared to the last year or two is that when a seller prices their home at an outrageous price, it's actually sitting on the market, which is a good sign compared to when a seller would overprice it and it would still sell. Another factor that is feeding into the market supply shortage is that about 17% of homes for sale are being bought by large corporations, because when COVID happened, a lot of people left the crowded cities to move to more suburban areas where homes are spread out, and because of that mass exodus, large funds such as Blackstone are constantly buying homes and renting them out, which creates even less inventory for traditional buyers. And taking a look here, we can see that single family rentals are now up 5.3%, which is the most that it's ever been over the last 15 years. Experts expect, obviously we'll still see appreciation this year, but it'll probably be closer to the single digit appreciation instead of double digit appreciation like we've seen over the last 2 years. So overall, no, it is definitely not too late to buy a home in Pennsylvania. It may actually be the easiest to buy a home now than it's been in the last 24 months. Sellers are still getting great prices for their homes, so it's certainly not too late to sell your home either. If you're thinking about moving anywhere in Pennsylvania, I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. Until then, check out these other videos. I will see you guys on the next one.